What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Garden Girl. I am tickled to be out here today. As you can tell, obviously the sun's shining. It's warm, way too warm. This girl's getting in a swimsuit after this is done. The last time we were out here, it was like the Debbie Downer episode, and I was like, well, I'm not this year. We did not have all that June rain. As you know, we have had no rain, and it's been warmer than warm. And these guys are loving it. They are way ahead. If you go back and look at the episode from last year that we did, my Bah Humbug episode, you'll see a huge size difference. So I've had a lot of questions coming in. So what I want to do is go over some of the concerns that I've been hearing, and I'm going to take you through what I do, and even Dad does on a daily basis, or at least 3 times a week basis. So grab your pen and paper, grab something to drink, because it's warm outside, and stay tuned because we'll be right back.
For clean air you can breathe in a clean-looking home exterior, Ultra Clean. Locally owned and operated, offers both air duct cleaning and pressure washing for your home. Give them a call at 330-243-3996 to help clean up the air you and your family breathe and your home's outside appearance.
For fastidious librarian Emily Skinner, each day was fueled by thorough preparation for events to come. Well, somewhere along the way, Emily went right on living. But you see, with the help of her Raymond James financial advisor, she had planned for every eventuality, which meant she continued to have the means to live on, even at the ripe old age of 187. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm out here in my garden. I've kind of got all my tools with me. You can see I have twine hanging from my pockets because, you know, this really makes a fashion statement. But the reason why I do is because at this point, with the weather we've been having, these guys are growing so fast, we're tying them up multiple times a week for the most part. So what I like to do before I water and get my feet all gross, since I'm usually in flip-flops, I like to go in and get everything tied that needs tied, and I like to get everything suckered. And in the midst of doing that, while I'm tying and I'm suckering, which I am going to show you guys today, I'm usually checking. And as you can see, we're early. We've got a lot of tomatoes that started a lot earlier than last year. So one thing, and you're seeing some white on this. This is diatomaceous earth. You know, last year we ended up, it was in September when we actually found them. We started seeing aphids in September. We have never had a problem before. Now, this year, again, there was none here when we planted them. Everything was fine. And now I've started seeing a few things. And I know there's other critters that are after things right now. So I've gone ahead and put the diatomaceous earth down. As you know, I love that stuff. It's organic. Works for everything. So what I like to do is come through and sucker everything and tie everything. This guy here, yeah, he's going to be one of the big guys. You know, a lot of times I sucker as they grow. So I don't know if you can get a close-up. However, this is my main stem. And see, I'm pulling one off there. I've already cut one, and you can see little nubbies. Now, I think the biggest thing that everybody gets confused on is, what do you know what's a sucker? Well, sometimes it gets confusing because honestly, the different varieties of tomatoes have proven to have different growth patterns. Some of them are a little different. I usually start at the top because that's where I'm going to commonly find them since I keep up with them all the time. Go away, fly. You know, right here you can see one of my main stems. And right here's my truss. This is all my blossoms, so these will be tomatoes in about a month-ish. Right here's my leaf coming out, my main stem, and another leaf. So as I trace it upwards, I see this leaf, and I see my main stem coming up. So, again, it's one of the few times you can use the word crotch in a good way, and it's okay. You're gonna pinch these. Anything that you find in between the main stem, your main runner, and your leaf axil, or your leaf, you're gonna pinch. Now, on this guy, you're probably like, well, what about him? Well, he's coming off. He's not attached and coming right out of this main stem. I'm gonna leave him alone. I'm not one of those ones that does, it depends on their growth. I don't push them. So if they're proving to have one main stem for me, fabulous. If they're gonna shoot out a couple, I'm not gonna heavy prune them and cause what we call psychological, yeah, because they have feelings, physiological leaf roll. And that's just, it doesn't hurt them, it's just kind of ugly. But sometimes when you get into heavy pruning, that will cause them to do it, amongst other factors. So all I do is I go through and check. So I'm gonna leave this guy on, and again, I go through and sucker, and I trace down. Here's my other main stem. I'm gonna pop up here. We're looking good, looking good. So I'm gonna leave it alone. Now, I need to tie him. He needs tied. And again, we're seeing, and I know some of you guys have said the same thing to me already here in the last month in June, that you're seeing really thick stems. That's awesome. Thick stems is a good thing. That's a good thing. It helps stabilize them when you get these big guys on here. But all I basically do, when I tie, I don't like to tie too tight. And I'll tell you why. Air circulation is key, not just with tomatoes, but other vegetables. So what I like to do is I come in and I find some nice sturdy points because I want to keep these guys going upwards. And yes, I'm just using twine. You can use, some of you guys know I use the body poof remainders. They work fabulous. You can use the fancy ties, or you can just go get yourself some twine or some rope. Pantyhose, that's another one. Dad, we have a leftover abundance of twine from when we had horses and did the hay. So now, you didn't see me tie clear tight up against here. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I just wanna keep it so that if there is a thunderstorm or hail or heavy winds, it's gonna keep it in an area here, just in a contained area so it can't whip around. Now, I'm not gonna do it on the show here, but what I'll tend to do is save some time and I'll kind of untie the bottom ones because the very bottom doesn't really need it anymore. So I will go through every one of these 43 plants. Thanks, Dad, for the expansion. 43 plants. And I will go through and do this before I do anything else down below. Stay tuned. When we come back, I'm going to jump ahead and we're going to talk about what I do next and then me going Caddyshack around here. So we will be right back.
I think the hands-on aspect is going to give you an opportunity to explore, find out what you're good at, what you like, and you're not going to have mountains of debt. What you're going to have is a marketable skill that even if you don't love it, you can use that to pay to go on to college and get that degree. And we've got a number of students that do that. They're very mature. I think we're a great hands-on exploration base.
the sound of silence and cars. We're cutting like knives in a fist fight. And I found you with a tear in your eye, your head in the curtains and heart like the 4th of July.
You swore and said, we are not shining stars. This I know, I never said we are. If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your past be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on. Carry on, carry on. We are shining stars. Carry on, carry on. We are who we
Hi everybody, welcome back. Okay, so it seems like I've been introduced to a new pest. And it's not a bug. It's not a mole either. It's a vole. These things last year, we've never had an issue out here with any critters until last year. We had a very determined groundhog, which I'm going to have them get you some close-ups of what is now I call the concentration camp, because it literally had to be, you know, when a groundhog is scaling cement walls to get in and chewing up everything, you got a problem. Now, granted, we are going to try to trap him. We tried last year. He's a pretty smart sucker, so this has been challenging. And unless we really want to sit out here 24/7 to make him extinct, we are down to trying some rotted cantaloupe from recommendation from a friend, some rotted cantaloupe to put in a live trap and try to get him. So this is on the game plan. This will be done this week. What you're looking at here is vole damage. Now, I said vole, not mole. And I know that some of you guys are having problems with them too. Well, what's the difference? Okay, when you see out in your yard or in your garden, because I have both that I deal with. I don't have to deal with the moles out here, but at home I do. Moles leave, you won't see their path so much, but you'll see like a volcano of soil in your yard. That's a mole. Okay, what we were finding here was raised tunnels. Like I could see where they were tunneling, and this started last year. I could see where they were tunneling, and then it's a flat hole about, I don't know, it's it's not big. It's a couple inches at most circumference-wise. So I did my research, and I took home a bag of Mole Max for starters, and I'm really sorry, companies, but I'm going to call you out on this, because obviously if it worked, they'd be gone, and it's not. It didn't. I tried Mole Max, did not work. It actually did chase them off for a little bit, but it got pretty pricey. So to keep reapplying. So then we went to a guillotine. You know, one of these ones, the traps you set and they run through the tunnel and wham, gets them. I've yet to have a casualty of war from that. So that has proven not to work too well. And we have really loose soil. So not an issue with the soil, not an issue with it being touchy. It's very touchy. Next on the list that we did was, this is where I was saying Caddyshack and Bill Murray came in. We tried flooding them. I mean, we did the whole hose down the multiple tunnels and tried flushing them. Nothing, nada. But the garden got really well watered that day, deep watered, so that worked. And you can see the damage that they're doing here. They come in and chew. So me, trying to outsmart a simple rodent with the size of a brain of a pea, I had already had my other kohlrabi chewed off, so I thought, fine, put it in a container. They can't possibly get up that far, even chose a taller-ish container. because it had seemed like the damage that they did this year on the tomato leaves and last year were low, because as you can see, we got great tomatoes. So once we got them past that hump, they were fine. They grew like crazy. Now, obviously you can tell they apparently can get up this high on their little feet. So again, I'm just leaving them, watering them, doing my fertilizer, whatever. I'm at the point if I get kohlrabi, I do. Last on the list that we tried, which you may be hearing a faint beeping in the background, was one of these, I don't know, sonar high-pitched sound. It was a sound frequency thing. Well, that sound frequency thing is supposed to cover 700 square feet. No, not working. So, I hate to say this. The one thing that I think did exterminate some of them, believe it or not, we were told to get gummy bears, put it by their holes, in their holes, or juicy fruit gum. Two things that we were told to do. We did have some of the gummy bears taken. I'm pretty sure an ant didn't carry it off. So I'm guessing it was right by their hole. I'm guessing they got it because no groundhog can get in here now. I mean, I can hardly get out of the garden, let alone anything getting in. So the only thing we've seen, which I'm going to set out some more gummy bears, we did see some of them taken and a decrease. When the gummy bears ceased to be here, that's when these got chawed down. So needless to say, I'm going to be going back into the gas station and getting more. The last thing we tried, even between Mr. Groundhog out here underneath that can't seem to be caught and these voles, was smoke bombs. Yes, I did. Like I said, I was trying anything. Did the smoke bombs, had people stationed at different holes and everything, ready for any little critters to come out and say hi, and nada, nothing. So, guys, I'm pleading to you guys too. I can plant, I can grow. However, does anybody have a solution for the voles? A permanent one. I am all ears. You guys can call me or email me the information, because trust me, it is information that I would love to share. I'm not the only one. There's actually a lot of people this year. It could be the weather, it being drier. I don't know. But that's what we're finding they are. So when we come back, what I'm going to do is take you through my last part of my daily routine out here. Not every day, but you know what I mean. My routine. When I come out here, this is what I do. And that way you have a good idea of what you need to do from now until the end of summer. So you guys stay tuned. We will be right back.
For clean air you can breathe in a clean-looking home exterior, Ultra Clean. Locally owned and operated, offers both air duct cleaning and pressure washing for your home. Give them a call at 330-243-3996 to help clean up the air you and your family breathe and your home's outside appearance.
For fastidious librarian Emily Skinner, each day was fueled by thorough preparation for events to come. Well, somewhere along the way, Emily went right on living. But you see, with the help of her Raymond James financial advisor, she had planned for every eventuality, which meant she continued to have the means to live on, even at the ripe old age of 187. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, so now that we're done with the pest management part, which I'm obviously totally sucking at, I know a couple of you guys asked me about caging and stuff. You know, you have to at least, as a bare minimum, get a couple stakes in the ground. You can still, and we use, like I told everybody, it's cheap, it's free. Go out in the woods, cut down some limbs. Cut down some nice big strong limbs, score them at the ends, and sink them. You need to get them sunk down at least a foot. Now, again, I know ours looks extreme. There's a few reasons for that. Some of them we've had to cage where these voles were hitting, and we had to use more like chicken wire, a very fine wire that they absolutely could not get in, you know, just a foot or so tall, just so that we could get, like I said, once we got the plants up, which this year wasn't as big of a deal, but last year they were smaller, and they were just chewing them off to nothing, to the point we planted another one to make sure we were gonna have one in that spot. So, you know, we just kept them caged up enough to give them a fighting chance, which now, and they haven't seemed to bother it. But our caging system is a little more complex because, again, a lot of you guys know, I don't top mine. I just don't. Dad, we're gonna let Dad do a few of his, because now we have another thing that we're gonna come back in the fall and show you guys, is the whole yield. The topping versus plant size versus yield. So we're gonna bust out the myth as to whether or not topping a plant at a certain height makes them produce more tomatoes. But for us, you know, as you can see behind me and in the first little segment, you know, plants over my head. Okay, we're filming right now, it's July 6th. These things are gonna get, like last year, you know, almost all of them went 10 foot. A lot of them were in the 11 to 12 range, and two of them in the 13 range. So you have to have a little bit more than just a stake or one of those cute little conical shaped $3 Lowe's special cages. These are useless, man, unless it's for a small, like tumbling Tom type, useless. So we do the cattle fence. You know, a couple of you guys have asked me about that. I love the cattle fence. And I'll tell you why. We run the PVC and even some other limbs down through every cage. So when I plant these, the cage goes over. Then we sink the main stake. Once we do that, these get ran through, top and bottom. What it does, it helps tie everything in. And then you're gonna see some smaller, thinner sticks back here. What that does is it stabilizes some of these cages more. I mean, there's still some rock, but not as bad. We also went to an extra precaution, which was, you'll see a little bit of steel here. This has been welded on about a foot below, so that these cages could actually be sunk down in. So we've got the stake and this sunk a foot into the ground. We have our two tie pieces, which then again, we use the twine to tie. That just holds it over. So if you guys are growing these big guys, this is why we do it the way we do it, and why. You know, what our reasoning is behind it. Because trust me, the first year that Dad kind of let me go at this about 3-4 years ago, and they were getting up over the 8-foot range, and you know, we were slowly getting there. Dad noticed too, just the stake and a little cage wasn't cutting it. We were getting some serious leaning Tower of Pisas by mid-August. So I hope that answers some questions about the caging and how we do it and why. Lastly, remember I said the main stems are a beautiful thing? It is a good thing. And you can see here on some of these, this here in particular is the big beef. We love them, we can them, we use them fresh. They are an All-American selection winner and they're awesome. I love my heirlooms. This is not an heirloom. I don't care. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful. And this will not turn into a 10-foot monster like some of these other ones. These ones will stay relatively shorter. When I say relatively, I'm still talking 6 foot. If you're not going to top them, they're going to go a good 6 foot on you. Now, this is where I spend most of my time. Once a tomato starts setting, I will take off all the lower leaves below it for a couple of reasons. One, it rains, I water, soil splashes up, here comes bacterial leaf spot. So the minute I see the first set of blossoms setting, tomatoes out, no matter what variety it is, they get cut. Lastly, I weed after I water. These get soaked, and then I yank weeds. If you keep up with that, I promise you will have successful tomatoes. This is a beautiful year for it. We are not seeing diseases. I mean, we're trending towards a stellar year. So I really hope this helps kind of, get to some, with the voles and the pests and what I'm doing out here and how I get them, whether you're putting them on your BLTs or you're weighing them in for competition, this should get you going in the right direction. I hope this helped. I want you guys to have a wonderful week. Stay tuned for another cool episode coming up you do not want to miss. It is going to be really, really neat. The next couple are really going to be kind of learning things for you guys. Don't forget, every episode, our new episodes air every Wednesday at 5. And if you don't catch them then, you can catch them Friday at 7 or the next Saturday morning at 9. So hope that helps. Oh, and if you need to catch up on other stuff, just jump over to WJRTV2.com, go hit original programming, The Garden Girl, and it'll take you to just an encyclopedia of all the episodes. So I hope you guys have fun, have a wonderful week, keep the sunscreen on, and stay cool.